Hey everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm a fun size reader, and today I wanted to be honest with you about why I have canceled my Book of the Month subscription. I wasn't really gonna make a video about this, but I ended up getting a message from someone who saw a story that I posted because I did end up canceling my Book of the Month subscription this week. I put a story up talking about my cancellation as soon as I got my last box. And I kind of explained a little bit why, and I kind of talked about how I was a little relieved. But I got a message from someone saying that they were confused because they had just signed up for Book of the Month because they saw one of my videos talking about Book of the Month. So I felt like I needed to put out a video to kind of explain myself and also have this information available to you on my channel, because some of my old videos were about books that were Book of the Month choices, and so I talked about Book of the Month in that video, and I have no control if someone goes and signs up for it from a video that was done in the past. So I just kind of wanted to be honest with you guys and explain what was going on and kind of give my review on the subscription as I feel right now. So I got into this book space in 2019, early in 2019, and I started on Instagram and I kind of started getting into the book community that was there. And one of the things that was extremely popular in the book community at that time was the Book of the Month subscription. I was in a school program at that time. I was in a master's program, and that's one of the reasons why I started getting into the book community again, was because I started reading again and I needed kind of a stress reliever. I loved reading and I just didn't have anybody to talk to about it, so I needed suggestions. Book of the Month seemed like a really great way to get books for cheap. I mean, I was a student, so I wasn't making any money. I needed cheap options, and it was widely talked about. Like, everybody was talking about Book of the Month, had Book of the Month subscriptions, posted their Book of the Month choices every month, but like literally it was a craze. I was like, I'm in. I joined. I have been a BFF on Book of the Month. That's like their little, you've completed a year basically of membership. I've been a BFF for a long time, and I have tons of Book of the Month books. Like, at the peak of when I joined and when it was just absolutely amazing, I mean, I would fill up my add-ons every single time. And I didn't feel guilty about it because it was a great way for me to get hardback books that were relevant, that were brand new releases that I could afford. That was one of the reasons why I absolutely loved the subscription. I was actually one of their influencers for the YA launch that they did. So they had their regular subscription, and then they tried to launch a YA box, which didn't end up doing very well. They ended up merging them both together, but I was an influencer for that. I got boxes from them. So I was gung-ho about Book of the Month. I was gung-ho about it. I would get so excited every month when I knew I would constantly be checking the app to refresh, the website to refresh, because I don't think there was an app in the very beginning. I would constantly, towards the last few days of the month, be checking to see what the choices were going to be for that month. Incessantly. It used to be something that I looked forward to in grad school. It was like a little piece of joy that I was given at the end of every month to see what the new books were going to be. And I pretty much never skipped a month. As time has gone on, I've skipped more and more months. There's been more and more books that I just got because I wanted to get a book, but I wasn't really feeling great about it or didn't really want it, versus there were books that I wanted that in the choices. That started happening more and more often, where I was not as excited about the choices, picking things that I wouldn't necessarily choose otherwise, and I started to just not be excited about it because I felt like I was spending money and I wasn't getting what I wanted. I've been thinking about my subscription with the box for a long time. It's been a really long time, I think, because like you remember how excited you were about something and how much you loved something. And when you love something like that and it brought you so much joy in like a time that was really hard in your life, it's really hard to give it up. That's how I felt about Book of the Month. I didn't want to stop it. I was excited that I was a BFF. I was excited that I got a free book my birthday month. I was excited that I got, one of their books at the end of the year, one of the top books of the year. I was excited about all of those things. The more in 2021, the year went on, I started to realize that I literally skipped more months than I actually got a book. And this month, when the choices came around and there were 7 choices and I didn't really want any of them, I was like, you know what? I have 2 credits that are sitting here that keep getting rolled over and rolled over and rolled over and rolled over. I was like, I need to end this. Like, this is draining me, that I keep feeling this disappointment every month and that I just don't want anything. Or if I did want something, it wasn't an option in the first 5 to 7 choices because it had always been 5 choices, and then recently they like upped it to 7, but some months are 5 and some months are 7. So it kind of just got like inconsistent and confusing. But I also started to mildly feel a little bit taken advantage of as a consumer, because I remembered in the peak excitement time when I first joined the subscription, the first couple years of it, where the choices were books that I wanted. And then add-ons were also books that I wanted. There were times where I wanted 3 or 4 of the top choices, and then add-ons, there were also great choices that I wanted to get. And you're limited to 3. And so the next month I would go back, but I would have to like manipulate my choices. And this entire year, I felt like the top choices that were put out, I didn't want any of them. But the ones that I wanted were added on as add-ons. So I, as the consumer, was being duped into spending money that I didn't want to spend for a product that I didn't want, just to get the ones as an add-on that I did want. And as a consumer and as a reviewer, like, I did not feel good about that. Like, that made me feel like my subscription, like me giving my money to this company was being taken advantage of, and that I was being forced to spend more for them just to get what I did want. And I didn't really do that for a long time. That's why I skipped so much this year until this month. I literally was like, I have to end this. I'm biting the bullet. And I ended up picking a top 7 choice that I didn't want just so I can get an add-on that I did want. And then I canceled. The other thing that was frustrating as a reader, as a consumer of this product, was there were often times where a book was chosen, say 1 year, and then the next year when that same author released a book in connection with the one that they picked last year, it was nowhere near the choices. It wasn't on the top choice list. It was as an add-on. I'm like, we picked it. I know tons of people picked this last year. Why would you not put it as a top choice? And there were months where that happened, where I ended up not choosing anything and skipping again. And then I never had to get that book, or got to get that book through the program. It also really frustrated me that often, so I'm a fantasy reader, you guys know that. I read romances, I read fantasy romance. And a lot of times there were books that are the first book in a fantasy series, and then the next one was not available. And so I then felt like, well, now I have to spend extra money because I have the first one in the Book of the Month marketing, branding, Book of the Month logo on the side. certain size that looks all really pretty on my book of the month shelf. But then they didn't offer me the next one in the series. And so as a fantasy reader, that will discourage me from ever choosing a fantasy book from book of the month. Because I know that there's a chance that my copies aren't going to match and I'm going to have to go rebuy the book that I spent money with the company to buy anyways. And so I got discouraged from ever choosing a fantasy book. Then there were situations like, I can tell you this one off the top of my head. I purchased Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Loved that book. I have the big book of the month copy, but it is separate from my Well Matched and Well Played because they weren't offered by book of the month. So I now have them completely in different areas on my shelf because my Well Met is with my book of the month books, and my Well Matched and Well Played are tiny paperbacks that look terrible next to the others on the shelf. So none of my copies for a series, it's the romance books that are connected, match because they didn't give me that as an option. I couldn't choose it through book of the month. So that really frustrated me as a consumer, that you're going to have me buy something from your product and you're not going to give me the option to buy more that match. I didn't want this to sound ranty, but I wanted to give you guys an honest opinion as to why I stopped reading it, or stopped using the subscription. I canceled my subscription. There are tons of people that still love Book of the Month. Love it. They get the books, they love the books, they love the choices, they find new authors, they find new genres. That's amazing and fantastic. And I'm so happy for them that this fits for them. One of the reasons why I loved the Book of the Month subscription was because they gave me that option. Because I got to choose from 5 books. Because I got to choose from 7 books now. Because they had a variety, right? We usually used to have a romance choice, a historical fiction choice, a thriller choice, a contemporary choice, and a fantasy choice. Generally, depending on what came out that month, obviously. But now it feels more and more like we don't get that. We get heavily weighted on 1 or 2 types of books, and then other things are not there. And that is one of the reasons why I used to want Book of the Month only. I don't like the other box subscriptions. Personally, I have not felt connected to them because I don't know what one book they're choosing to send me. And what if I already have it? What if I don't want to read it? Then I'm screwed out of an entire month because they picked the one book. So that was something that I really loved about Book of the Month, was they gave me that choice. So I do think that there are good things about it. I just really miss the old Book of the Month that was there when I started. I miss being excited about the choices. I missed being able to have matching copies. I miss being able to have the books in the consecutive series. And that's just not that way anymore. And there was too many months that I was unexcited and too much frustration because of those changes that I just needed to stop. And to be honest with you, I felt relieved when I canceled. How bad is that I felt relieved? I was like, oh my God, I don't have to worry about this anymore. I don't have to start the first day of my month or, the last few days of the month being frustrated that yet again, another month, I didn't want a book. But I was sad because I feel like I'm mourning the loss of something that brought me so much joy a while ago. Like I said, in a really hard time. I do thank Book of the Month for giving me the good times, right? I read tons of great books because of Book of the Month. And I got to know tons of new authors because of Book of the Month. And I got to have a lot of great conversations with lots of people in social media, lots of book people, lots of book community because of Book of the Month. But for me, that has ended. run dry, whatever you want to call it, and I needed to move on. I just wanted to be honest with you on my channel in case you saw other videos that I had posted in the past that talk about my Book of the Month subscription, because I don't believe my link will work now for the referral. I don't remember which videos it's on, so sifting through every single video would be like impossible, which is why I'm just putting this out to you guys now. But I just wanted you to hear it from me why I canceled, because I don't want to make you guys feel like I tricked you into doing something that I would no longer recommend. I just wanted to be honest with you as to why I canceled it. I'm not saying that you should run out and cancel it. I'm not saying that people shouldn't sign up for it. I'm just saying, like, for me, our time had come to an end, and I don't want to make anybody feel like I tricked them into something that I no longer recommend. That ended up being a lot longer than I anticipated. Sorry guys, I guess I had a lot to say. I do kind of also want to talk about the cancellation process just a little bit, because I did get a lot of questions from my Instagram story about that. I had a lot of responses. I was able to cancel my subscription through the app. I know that not everybody who has tried to has been able to do that. For me, I was able to click a small button that said cancel, and then it popped up a browser window which let me go through the cancellation process. I know other people have had a message pop up saying that they needed to call, and they did go through with that phone call. They said it took a few minutes and they had to just verify information on their account, and then the cancellation was complete, like 2 to 3 minutes tops for the phone call. Like I said, I was able to do it through the app system. So I did have quite a few people who had questions on that process. So I just wanted to answer those questions here. The other thing that is available, they do have the option to put your membership on hold. And I know people have done that as well. You still have the ability to use your credits. So if you have credits in your account, it's not going to charge you again for the next month. I think it was either 3 or 4 months. It will put you on hold. You can still use your credits at that time. So if a book comes available in the choices that you want, you can use your credit. It just won't charge you for the hold time. I'm not sure what happens after that, but I do know that putting it on hold is an option. So if you are struggling with finances, or you just want to take a break, or you want to stop for now, but you don't want to lose your BFF status, or you don't want to lose your history, your credits, you can just put it on hold and kind of see what happens, and then decide to re-up it after if that's what you choose. So I did want to bring that up as an option as well. And that's really easy. It's in the same account settings process as the cancellation. It's like a bigger button to put my account on hold. As always, I just want to always be honest with you guys and give my review for the content that I consume and put it out to you all. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any other book subscriptions at this time, but if I do, I will definitely keep you guys posted. And if things change and I decide to go back to Book of the Month in the future, I will definitely let you know that, and I will definitely let you know why I decided to change my mind. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And don't forget, you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Fun Size Reader. See you guys next time.